In this video, I'm going to be answering 3 different questions. How much French can you learn in 1 month? What did I learn in 1 month? And what did this challenge teach me outside of the words and phrases that I learned in French? About a month ago, I decided it was time to stop being so afraid of speaking French. I had a pretty big passive vocabulary, but I was unable to use any of it. Even just introducing myself was a massive struggle, and I could barely even get the right words out of my mouth. Je suis une tuteur du italki pour anglais. So I gave myself 4 weeks to buckle up and focus and try to start speaking French. I actually did this pretty casually. I didn't try to sit down and study for hours on end every day, and I wasn't going into it like, oh, I need to be very impressive and I need to learn as much as possible. I just did what I could. I didn't push it too much. It was pretty chill. I just took 1 class per week on nowisa, 1 lesson on italki, and then I maybe studied for 2 to 3 hours per week total. Also, once per day, I would watch like a YouTube video or a TV show in French, which is what I've always done. I'm recently super obsessed with Chef's Table France. It's on Netflix. It's incredible, but check out my week 1 video if you want to see the other TV shows that I've been watching. But I didn't really put extreme amounts of effort into this challenge, so I'd say that this is a pretty realistic perspective. But the big question that you probably clicked on this video for is how much French can you actually realistically learn in 1 month? And the answer is a lot more than I was expecting to. I will actually break this down for you. So since the beginning of this challenge, I have written every single thing that I've learned down in this notebook. Every word, every phrase, everything. So earlier today, I decided to go through all of the pages that I've written since starting this challenge, and I found all of the words that are new to me, that I hadn't known or even come across before this month. I wrote down 463 new words. That comes out to about 116 new words per week, which is a lot. That's a lot of information. So then I went on the page, and with each word, I made the decision as to whether it was a part of my active vocabulary or my passive vocabulary. But this is a difficult thing to measure, so I gave myself a little bit of criteria. In order for me to consider it active vocabulary, I made sure that I have a distinct memory of me using that word in a sentence without looking at it. So if a teacher had it up on the screen and they were like, hey, can you use this in a sentence? No, that doesn't count. I have to be able to use it in a sentence effortlessly. It's just coming straight from my brain and out my mouth without any prompting. And then also, I can't just have the memory of it in the moment when I was looking at it. I had to think of okay, can I use this in a sentence? Is this an easy word for me now? And if the answer was yes to those things, I could say it was my active vocabulary. And then if I could not say that, but I knew the meaning of the word, I put it in my passive vocabulary list. And I'm honestly kind of proud because when I was looking through that list of all of those new words that I've learned over the last 4 weeks, there was not a single one that I didn't know the meaning of out of context. I was able to look at the word and I knew what it meant immediately, and that would not be the case if I had not studied a few hours each week. So using my criteria, I can pretty confidently say that I have added 216 new words to my active vocabulary, meaning that they're easy for me, don't have to think about them too hard, we're good to go with them, which means that the remaining 247 words are still in my brain. I know the meaning of them, they're just not as effortless. Now, this isn't exactly a scientific way of measuring how much I learned and my progress this month, so take it with a grain of salt. But what it does tell me is that there are a ton of words now that I didn't even know existed last month, that I had never even seen before, that I now can use confidently in everyday speech. And also, there are a ton of words that, again, I hadn't come across before a month ago that I know, that I understand, that if I read it on a page, I know what that word is, which to me feels like huge progress. Now the next question. What did I learn? I learned small talk. I can ask you about the weather. I can ask you how you're feeling. I can ask you what you're doing for the rest of the day or what your plans are for this week or this weekend. And I can also answer all of those questions now for myself. I learned how to spell. Yeah. I learned pickup lines. T'as un joli cul. I learned reflexive verbs, what they are, how to use them. Didn't know that that existed a month ago. I learned how to use the near future, simple future, and future antérieur. Je vais étudier le français. I learned where adjectives are placed in sentences. I learned how to describe things. And I learned how to describe myself and introduce myself. Everything I just mentioned is at different levels. Some things I feel very comfortable with, and then there are things like the future antérieur that this might be horribly wrong, but we'll find out. Je mangerai dès que j'aurai fini de cuisiner. But I felt the same way about the simple future when I started learning it, so like I know I'm gonna get there, but yeah. But I definitely feel like I learned a lot more than I was expecting to. So, third final question, what did this challenge teach me outside of French vocabulary and phrases? It did teach me that making one YouTube video a week is not the walk in the park that I thought it was gonna be. It also taught me to not worry so much about making mistakes. It is 100% a part of the process. I'm such a perfectionist, so this is something that I feel like I'll always be working on, but I've learned to let go a little bit and just embrace getting things wrong. There's actually a video that I made right before I started this challenge called Why Speaking French Scares Me. And in that video, I explain how I have always compared myself to other language learners on YouTube because they seem to be able to learn a language so fast and so effortlessly, and they're like having conversations in almost no time at all. And it's hard to see that as like a first-time language learner and not compare yourself to it because it's not realistic for me to become fluent in a language in a week or a month. And that's actually a huge reason as to why I wanted to start making YouTube videos on this in the first place, because I thought seeing a beginner mess up and make mistakes and not do very well is like not a thing that's shown on YouTube very often. And yeah, it's embarrassing, but like it's fine. But I do feel like this challenge really set me on the right path to learning French and succeeding in learning French. Before, I couldn't even figure out where the path was. I had no idea what to do, no idea where to start, and now I feel like I'm there. Like I know the steps to get to where I want to be, and that's a really nice feeling. But I do have a lot of really fun videos planned for the upcoming weeks, and I will continue to update everyone on my French learning journey from time to time. So don't forget to like this video if you like it, and subscribe and hit the bell and do all those wonderful things, and I will see you next week. Oh, it's way too far. Okay, bye. Oh, good. Okay. I can pretty confidently say that they're easy for me. I got it. I hate fireworks. Ah.